do you think their kind of gangsterism is quite different to today's gangsterism? I mean, they talk about honour and control, and they don't touch women, they don't touch kids, but I mean...
Well, I think, as for the poverty, I think it's true that not everyone who grew up in the East End became a villain. It was only, a small number. We saw clips of St Bonaventure's school, which was one of a number of boxing clubs in the East End in those days, and just like, with American boxers who've come from poverty, and boxing has provided a way out. But it also teaches kids discipline, so I think it's a good sport. I mean, I think you made a good point that some were kind of, you could sense a struggle going on. The guys who've sort of come to faith, if you like, some might sort of go backwards a bit and go forwards. It's more of a journey than a destination. But I think with Alan, I know Alan quite well, and I know other boxers on his circuit who've gone to prayer meetings he's organised and that, and often there's a real struggle going on, trying to break free from the underworld. I remember once meeting the head of a big London crime family. It's actually an undertaker who arranged the meeting. I wanted to get a bit of an insight into, as it was then, and we're only talking about 15 to 20 years ago, 15 probably, even though some of his family is still quite involved, and how it is now, particularly with things like Operation Trident and gun crime in London. And he's now I think only in his mid-50s, but a very big, powerful crime family. And he said in the old days, he could pick up the phone. If there was some trouble going down in a neighbourhood, he'd pick up the phone and that would be the end of it. He said now you've got these young kids running around with guns and knives, and they think they're it. They get a bit of money in the pocket, and they want to get a bit of bling or whatever it is. It's black kids, it's white kids, it's with the whole immigration into London, there are kids from all sorts of backgrounds now who often see this as a quick route to success, in the same way that some kids might see the X Factor as a quick route to a success in the music industry. I think it's definitely changed. That there was, I mean, it's easy to deride the kind of code of honour, we help little old ladies across the road. It's easy to deride, but I think there was a certain code of honour in those days, but it's easy to glamorise it or romanticise it.
I just wanted to respond to that as well. It's really interesting, the film, some of the guys in the film seem to distance themselves from the violent culture of today. Hopefully I'm heard. From the violent culture today, there seem to be a lot of parallels which are exactly the same. There were themes at the beginning, or they were talking about one of the reasons they get into it is monetary and economic. I think those things are exactly the same as the black kids, the white kids today in council estates with no money. It's about, what I found interesting is the fact that they were kind of separating themselves from the kids today. It's exactly the same culture, because there's a code of honour. I mean, the gangs today could say there's a code of honour.
Yeah,
Violence is violence. For monetary gain, mugging someone down the street is exactly the same as breaking someone's...
No, I agree. I think that there are strong parallels. I think the big difference, though, from today to when, not that long ago, is the use of guns. I mean, guns were mentioned in the film, but actually in the kind of East End and South East London world, they weren't that common. I mean, knifings were more common. I mean, Alan, who you saw there, ended up in prison for knifing. The guns were not that common. They did come out from time to time, but now it's much more common that guns are being used. I mean, only where I live in Bermondsey, there was a guy shot dead 2 weeks ago, and then last week outside or near the Ministry of Sound nightclub at the Elephant, it's just 1.5 miles from me, another guy shot dead. Now, this didn't happen 15, 20 years ago, so I think the violence is the same in some ways, and I agree it's monetary, it's always money, but that it's now, there's a lot more guns knocking around than there was. I think that's a fact.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I'm just